Hi guys, thanks for stopping by the NSX Experiment. Today's video is going to cover existing modifications, future modifications and repairs. We're also going to throw in the first oil change, and we're going to find out who won those Hot Wheels cars. Stay tuned. Today's video is actually a viewer suggested video, and it comes from Mick. He actually had two different questions. The first question was, what plan of mods do you have, or what has already been modified? His second question was, what kind of maintenance is needed? And I think I'll cover that in a different video. I'll get with Master Tech Chris over at Acura, and we'll get that answered for you in the near future. But for now, we're going to talk about modifications. So far in the series, we've covered a handful of upgrades and modifications, none of them major, but upgrades nonetheless. So we've covered fire damage repairs, we've covered the full nose clear bra, we've got a third brake light flash kit, we upgraded the interior rearview mirror to a spoon mirror, and we recently upgraded the interior lights to LEDs. Now, the car also had a few modifications done to it before I bought it back in August, and we'll go ahead and start covering those now. The biggest modification done to the car prior to my ownership was by far these BC coilovers. They're fully adjustable. I can adjust the ride height, the stiffness or softness of the ride, so that's kind of nice to have. When I bought it, the owner, or the prior owner, set it up on kind of a, an average setting all around as far as ride height goes and the stiffness of the ride, and I found it to be pretty comfortable, and I haven't really messed with it yet. When I first found out they were on BCs, I don't really know a whole lot about aftermarket performance stuff because I'm more of a OEM kind of guy. So I reached out to someone who does, and I talked to Marcus over at Heel Toe because he lives and breathes this stuff, and told him what I had in the car, and he said that BCs are a very respectable brand. Not the best by any stretch in his opinion, but they were perfectly fine for my needs, and that was all I needed to hear. The seller also included the original struts, but they had 90,000 miles on them, and they are currently residing up there. It's nice to have them just in case I need them, but for now I'm very happy with what I've got, and maybe someday I'll mess with the ride height or the softness of the ride or whatever, but for now I'm good in that department. Another minor modification done to the car before I bought it was the air intake behind this left quarter here is somewhere between 50% and 100% bigger than the original air intake duct, and you can definitely hear it sucking wind at higher RPMs. So I'll likely leave this alone as well because I like the sound and it doesn't look any different from stock. It's not hurting anything, and the seller included the original duct as well, so that's sitting up in the attic with the original struts. The last upgrade or modification done prior to my purchase was this antenna. It's the popular shorter rubberized antenna, stationary, versus the retractable motorized OEM antenna. There's actually a running joke in the NSX community that the OEM antennas are so long when they're fully extended that the car looks like an RC car, like a big toy. So I'll likely leave this alone. The seller included the original antenna assembly in the sale as well, and that is currently spending quality time with the air duct intake and original struts up in the garage attic. But for now, that's perfectly fine for me. As far as things that I'd like to change up, the first thing up on the list is the stock stereo. I mentioned in another video that it has this really awesome crackling on the volume knob because you can see it's a little loose. This one's nice and firm, not going anywhere. This one actually has quite a bit of play, and because of that, which is super awesome. I did find that there is a fix for that online, and it involves taking this whole cluster out, removing the radio, removing some face plates and some other pieces of the radio to access one freaking nut right back here, and that's all it is, just to tighten up a loose nut, and supposedly that's going to fix the problem. It's not a humongous deal, but it's not going to be like super fun either, but it's something up on the upcoming list of things to take care of. Since we're in the interior, I don't know how well you can see it, but right there on that trim piece, there we go, the cover is all wrinkled up right here, the wrap. So if I'm going to be taking this console and stuff apart and taking it out anyway, I'll likely try to address that issue at the same time. A couple of other things that I would like to upgrade is the shift knob. There's not a lot of wear on this one, and I'm sure it's the original. However, I've seen some really nice machined metal, polished metal shift knobs. And so when I'm ready to pull the trigger on that, I'll be reaching out to Marcus over at Heel Toe, because he carries a few different models. And I'll be upgrading that, I think. And I'll be holding on to all of my OEM stuff just in case. You know, you never know. The other thing that I would really like to take care of or upgrade is the actual steering wheel itself. There's several different companies that you can send these wheels into, and they will, you know, flatten the bottom or flatten the top or do whatever you want. They, you know, modify them a little bit so where the steering wheel itself isn't so thin as it is now. It's a much meatier, bulkier one. They can also reuse the existing airbag and buttons and stuff, which I really like because it kind of will retain the OEM look, but kind of upgrade it a little bit. So I'm not looking for anything super fancy. I will likely not go with carbon fiber, probably just black leather, just to make it look more of a beefier OEM steering wheel. So last week we discovered that the driver door courtesy light lens was broken, and somebody tried to super glue, or did super glue, this top tab that was broken off, rendering this pretty much useless. So we got a new one for a whopping $10 instead of super gluing it. And look at those beautiful mount tabs. Since we're over at the door, let's go ahead and pop this in. Handled. And once upon a time, somehow, some way, this weather strip got pulled off. And in doing so, it actually tore the strip. So it does, these clips don't stay inside the weather strip anymore. And I'm guessing the same cheapo that glued that thing decided to also glue this thing, and obviously the glue has failed, and now it's just kind of hanging there. And this one over here is ripped as well. And so I got a new one to do it right. And I would have had that done already, except for this area over here. There's actually another push-in clip behind this trim panel right here that I can't get to unless I take this trim panel off. And seeing as how, you know, I've not taken one of these trim panels off and they're hard to come by, and new, they're like $2,000 through the dealer, I'm either going to watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do it, or I'm going to have my favorite Acura technician assist me in doing it. And while it's out, you can see here where the trim panel kind of sticks up, this little bezel. I'm not sure what that's about. And it also has kind of a, not a huge gap, but a pretty decent sized gap. And the other side's not like that. It's nice and tight up against the panel. This sits flush, so something is putting pressure on this and keeping it from sitting flat and appropriate. So we're going to look into that when the door panel's off. Two birds, one stone. One last issue in the interior is these tears in the passenger front carpet. I mean, you can see, I can put my finger right through it. It's not cut. There's just like a hole torn in, and there's another one over here. And it's just, I guess because maybe there's not enough support or pad underneath the carpet, and the weight of somebody stepping to get in and out of the vehicle just kind of tore it, separated it. And these carpets are not very cheap. In fact, the OEM carpets, if you can still get them, are close to $1,000 just for the passenger side, not including the other pieces. I did find there's a company called nsxcarpet.com that sells actual black carpet kits for $600, which is less than just the passenger side carpet. And I like the way the black carpet looks better than this OEM silvery gray color. So I may pull the carpet and see if this can be repaired, and if not, I might be buying a new carpet kit to have this taken care of. But again, it's one of those things that if you don't know it's there, you'd never even know it or have any issues. But now you guys all know it's there, so there you have it. My son is currently learning how to ride a bike, and the back tire went flat, so I decided it might be a good time to test out the air pump out of the NSX to pump up the back tire. And it worked like a jiffy for about 2 minutes, and then it stopped running. So I'm not sure why it doesn't work anymore. I might see if I can find somebody that can, figure it out and possibly maybe rebuild it or fix it, because I think the alternative of finding a new one is going to be hard and pretty spendy. So it's not a big deal, because the spare is the original expandable donut, and it's all cracked and stuff on the sidewalls. So chances are, once it was inflated, it probably wouldn't hold air anyway. But one more thing for the list of things to take care of. Minor issue in the back here are these trunk struts. As you can see, when I let go, they don't even try anymore. So I got a set of new trunk struts to remedy that problem, and then I discovered that the bolts are pretty much a one-time use. They don't come out very easily, and so I ordered new strut bolts for the trunk. There's the part number. And then when I got them, of course, I realized they were just plain gray. So I got some touch-up paint to go ahead and paint them before I install them, and then just touch them up again after they're installed to take care of that issue. Awesome. One of the things I thought was lacking on the NSX the first time I drove it at night was the brightness of the headlights. So a few months back, I took part in a Facebook group buy for a HID conversion kit for the headlights. And the kit comes with the little HID lights and all the hardware to build them and get them installed. And they've been sitting in the closet for the last few months just because I haven't had time to do anything with them. It also comes with these nice new clear lenses. So I've seen the finished product and they look pretty sweet. It's just getting the time to actually do it. Now that we've picked apart my car and you guys have a preview of some of the projects that are coming up, let's get to what you really want to see. Who won the Hot Wheels? Okay guys, the moment of truth. Here's all of our entries in random order. We're going to put them in the hat, mix them up, and Luke is going to pull the first name. Just one. All right, and the first winner is Ken Watt, and he wants Hot Wheels Silver. Kev Watt, K-E-V-W-O-T. He is the winner. And now we're going to pick our second winner. All right, go ahead and pull one, son. Who do we got? We've got John, and John won himself the yellow car. So here's our two winners. Guys, if you want to email me at nsxexperiment@gmail.com, hook me up with your name and address, and I'll get these things shipped out to you guys this week. Guys, we appreciate you stopping by and participating in our card drawing. Congratulations to our two winners. Hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll see you next time.